Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Welcome to another Worship Wednesday. And today, man, we're just going to talk about pushing forward. I got a scripture here that I want to read to you. And part of the reason that this came about was because I was talking to a business owner, man, that's not going through the best times in terms of financially. Their business is doing physically a lot worse than it did in 2019 due to the pandemic and due to some other changes that they had to make, but they're still able to make budget and still, keep things afloat. So I wanted to do this simply for the other business owners, pastors, ministers, or people that are in a tight place while we're going through this pandemic. We're coming out. They've taking off the mask mandate while you're outside. The numbers are growing as far as vaccinated people, and we're starting to open back up again as a country. And hopefully, when things get a little bit under control in other countries in the world, we can open back up as a global economy. But until that time, man, we got to still maintain our companies, our organizations, our families, our ministries, and things alike in order to make it to the next level, because we can't stop. Business doesn't stop. The bills don't stop coming simply because we're going through this pandemic. Now I know certain things have taken a halt or pause, but there's still survival needs that we need to make sure we have and take care of. So I got the scripture just to uplift, man, and let people know to push forward. We always got to find something to smile about, or something to give us that hope to keep grinding, to keep going forward, man. It's got to be something, and for me, it's scripture. You got to be able to hang your hat on something to say there's going to be a better tomorrow. Because that, if you don't have that hope, if you don't have that desire for a better tomorrow, then really you're not going to fight with everything you're supposed to fight with. You're not going to be as creative. Sometimes you may fall into depression. Depression rates are kind of high now due to different causes from the pandemic and other things like that, man. Loneliness and people losing loved ones. So I want to read this scripture, man, simply specifically for the business owner, but it applies in any area of your life if you're going through a tough time. So it's going to be Romans. We're going to read Romans chapter 5. We're going to read verses 3 and 4. So again, that's Romans chapter 5, verses 3 and 4. And this time we're going to come from the Amplified Classic version because it gives a little more detail. And it says, "Moreover, let us also be full of joy now. Let us exult and triumph in our troubles and rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that pressure and affliction and hardship produce patience and unswerving endurance." Right, I'm going to read that again. It says, moreover, this is verse 3. "Moreover, let us also be full of joy right now." You got to be full of joy right now. You can't be full of joy when things turn around, because that's really the easy part, right? And you really won't get to things turning around if you're not full of the joy, which is like the strength or the gasoline in order for you to be creative and to keep pushing forward. So it says, "Moreover, let us be full of joy right now. Let us exalt and triumph in our troubles and rejoice in our sufferings." Normally, that sounds a little crazy, right? Why would you be happy that you're suffering? Why would you be happy that you're going through a tough time? But it'll tell you why. It says, "Knowing that pressure and affliction and hardship produce patient and unswerving endurance." All businesses hit tough spots, right? Every year, some years are easier than others, right? But every year there's going to be something that you may possibly have to go through. And the higher you go, the harder the winds blow, right? That's why they build tall buildings in such a way to withstand the height and the winds, because they're skyscrapers and things like that, right? So the higher you go in business, the higher you go in life, the bigger the responsibility, the bigger the bills in some cases, right? The more questions you got to answer, the more people you're responsible for. So you got to be, you're going to have to go through some things in order to build those muscles, in order to sustain, which we always talk about sustainability, in order to sustain the blessing God has gave you. Now, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish that you could just, without the pressure, right? But also the pressure produces something inside of you called humility, man. It gives you the ability to know that there's a God, or there's something you have to trust on that's more powerful than yourself in order to get things accomplished. But this rejoicing in these trials and errors is what is going to give you the ability to have a sustainable organization, a sustainable ministry, a sustainable family plan, right? Because if you don't go through anything, you don't know how to handle anything that you may go through. So I want to encourage you, man, to look at your troubles a little differently, man. Look at them as opportunities to become more creative, more innovative, to flex your muscles, man. You go to a gym, you lift weights, man. The resistance causes your muscles to grow, and it gives you it helps your strength and things grow. So look at it that way. Don't look at it like it's the worst thing that could possibly happen, but change the way you view it, and it'll ultimately help you go through it, and you'll get better going through it. Because that opportunity, on another note, people get paid to solve problems. Let's be honest. That's what consultants do. That's what I do. We get paid to solve problems. And the only way you solve problems is by first going through problems, right? So when you solve something, it could be as small as, anything, man. Anything that people do on a routine basis. Like, for instance, they got the carriers. Now, I remember when they first came out with the baby carriers that didn't require you to have, your hands. You could wrap a little thing around your body and then wrap the baby in this little swaddling thing, which still gave you your free, your ability to move the cart or whatever it was, right? But that was a problem, like, because you only had one hand if you had the baby in your hand. So somebody said, man, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So they looked at their life and they said, how can I solve problems that I deal with, that millions of other people deal with, which is going to make you successful? Solving problems makes you successful. So let's go to verse 4. It says, in endurance, fortitude develops maturity of character, approved faith, and tried integrity. A character of this sort produces the habit of joyful and confident hope of eternal salvation. Check this out. It says, in endurance, fortitude develops maturity of character, approved faith, and tried integrity. Why I want to highlight tried integrity? Sometimes when you get in tough positions, the enemy, which we like to call in church the devil, or will present you, or whatever you want to call them, right, will present you with other options, shortcuts, if you will. A way to make some quick money, a way to ease the pain, man. Things are not going right with your wife, man. I got a little something over here for you to do to take your mind off of it, to ease the pain, to shortcut the system, right? I know that wasn't business related, but you understand the example. The enemy will present you with ways to shortcut the process, or to shortcut the system, or to make a quick buck. Or, man, we don't have to really keep quality at the level it's always been. We could lower quality standards, save a couple dollars and things like that, but it really would affect the consumer, right? Or we can use materials that haven't been tested on the project in order to save a couple of $1,000s, which will really affect your integrity, because your customer is dealing with you based on a subset of quality standards and a reputation that you built up. So when you get in these tight places, you can't lose your integrity in order to make a buck, in order to get out of the situation quicker, right? And that builds character. That builds long-standing character. I know this is talking about eternal salvation, but it also can build a strong business, right? When you say, I'm not going to take the shortcuts, right? I'm going to figure out a way to keep quality standards the way they are, and keep my customers happy as they possibly can be, without lowering the bar, man, or messing with the materials or things like that, because integrity matters. Integrity always matters. But integrity may cost you some things. Sometimes integrity may cost you deals. It may cost you money, right? You may have to not pay yourself in order to keep quality standards the way they are for a short amount of time. But you're going to maintain your integrity and keep your side of keep your end of the bargain, if you will, or make sure that you're contractually up to par when it comes to what you presented to your clients, your partners, your investors, and things like that. So you don't want to shortcut the process. And that's what this does, man. That's what sometimes going through, because again, I don't know how you'll react in a bad situation until you're in that situation. I don't know you really want to ride with me, right? Let me say it like this. It's easy to ride with me when the road is smooth, but when we got to go through something, when our business, our ministry, our family has to go through something, how quick are you ready to jump ship? Or how quick are you ready to forget and throw all your morals and integrity out the window in order to financially meet the quote unquote the quota or the budget or whatever it is, right? How quick are you to throw it out the window? How quick are you to take the shortcut? How quick are you to circumvent the process? How quick are you to lower quality standards? These things you don't really find out about yourself until you go through some rocky points, right? You don't find out about this about business partners until you go through some rocky points, man. Like, can I count on you to maintain the standard of excellence that we set at the beginning of this process, even when we're going through something a little difficult? And that's tough, man. So you got to push forward. But again, pushing forward has to be anchored to something that could help push you forward, right? So I told this person, right, when I was talking to him, I said, listen, you've been around for 5 years, right? You've been around and you've been in business for 5 years. Let's look at, right, first we got to remind ourselves of why we're in business. That's one of my main things, man. Why did you start it? Let's regain some fire. Let's regain some passion. Let's get back. Let's fall back in love with what we're doing. And then let's look for creative ways. What is your supply chain process? Is there a way where we can keep quality standards the way they are, but affect the supply chain process to where we can save a couple of bucks? Not the quality, but maybe how we move the product, how we store the product, how we order the product, how much product do we have in stock? Maybe we can go on sale on different items, and maybe we can increase the price on other items. It just depends, man. But you have to maintain your integrity throughout the whole thing, because the moment your integrity becomes in question, your business is done. Your business is over. The moment your consumer starts to question your integrity because you took a shortcut when you were going through a tough time, what makes them think they can count on you? How do they know when you're going through a tough time? How do they know that the quality that you promise you will continue to deliver if all it takes is a little bit of wind or something, for you to go through something for you to change the standards and change your commitment to excellence. So I want you to push forward, right? I want you to keep going. I want you to fight through, but be creative, be innovative, man. But also hook yourself to something that's going to give you hope, that's going to give you drive, that's going to make sure that you wake up in the morning with the ammunition, the joy, the can-do attitude, the quote-unquote self-starter. I hate that when people say you're a self-starter. That's anyway, but right, the ability to turn on that fire that you need in order to be successful during those tough times. Tough times come to us all. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about the rain and the wind came to all these houses, but the house that was built on a rock stood. Right? Tough times come to all businesses, but it's the business that understands and that's been through other tough times that is prepared for those tough times, right? That is going to maintain integrity during those tough times, that are going to weather the storm. So you be one of those businesses that weather the storm. So once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group on another Worship Wednesday, man. Y'all be blessed. Push forward. Peace.